Let us help you reach your peak in retirement. It's time for Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee.
Well, let's talk about our topic, and that is going to be silver linings. So let's kind of put a little bit of a different spin here. And I got a couple of unfortunate situations that have been happening to more and more folks across the landscape. And I want you to kind of spin a good yarn for us. Give us a couple of things to think about on the positive side should one of these unfortunate financial situations fall upon your head. Okay?
Okay.
So we're going to keep it pretty simple. Going to go with the company aspect. You've been working someplace, long time, whatever the case is. Maybe you've got retirement in mind at X number date or whatever, but you found out the company is going to push you or force you, however you want to look at it, into an earlier retirement. While that can be certainly disparaging news and make you kind of fret, give us a few places, like I said, some silver linings where maybe it's not as bad as we thought. You just got to look out for these things.
You know, unfortunately, here in the Salt Lake Valley, this is a far too common situation. I mean, we saw Dominion came in, bought out Questar. We're starting to see lots of the families that are coming through into our office to meet with us are going through this in some form or fashion right now. And so when we start to look at being forced into early retirement, there's some good that could come out of it. You know, it could be, hey, Sean, and usually what I'm seeing, and Rio Tinto, Kennecott's going through this a little bit right now, is, hey, I'm going to get a severance. You know, and the severance is going to be, it's going to allow me to live and be comfortable for a little bit. Why I just figure out next steps. You know, in a lot of cases, it just hits you. You're like, oh, okay, you got to get your bearings and you got to figure out, okay, what are we going to do? So having that severance is nice, whether it's, 3 months, 4 months, whatever it may be.
Buys you some time. Could be a lump of change, yeah.
Yeah, and then, I mean, if you look at it from the bright side on kind of lifestyle, maybe this is an opportunity to go do something different. Go do something that's maybe been on your bucket list as a job, or go find a job that now you really enjoy and you're more passionate about.
Right. Yeah, you always want to do underwater basket weaving or whatever.
Right. We have a handful of gentlemen that we work with that they mow the greens at some of the golf courses here so they can golf for free.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
But then the other side to that is that this may push you. It may actually push you to take the steps to build a clearly defined plan that allows you to have some clarity on your financial situation.
Yeah.
And you find out that you're ready to retire and you just didn't know it.
Well, that's definitely the silver lining. That's what I would think. If you're pushed into early retirement and you have a plan, or even if you don't have a plan, you get the numbers run, you get a rerun, whatever, and you go, well, shoot, I'm actually ready to retire after all. Then it's like, okay, there's the silver lining for sure. So they pushing me out, but I'm good to go. So you hit retirement early and things are, that's definitely a silver lining to me anyway.
Now, and I'll give you an example. We work with a gal. She was let go during the Dominion Questar merger, and she got a buyout. She got a severance, and there was a lot of concern. She said, Sean, I don't want to have to go back to work, but I also know that I'm only 56 years old.
Right.
I don't know what I'm going to do. How is all of this going to work? How am I going to get to 62? How am I going to get to be able to create the level of income? Now, for her, at this particular company, she had a great pension. So part of the income was pension driven, which was great, but there was still an income gap there. And fortunately, she was a great saver, or she still is a great saver, and she had built up a nice nest egg, upwards of I think $850,000 in total retirement. So she was going to be okay, but the issue for her was, how do we bridge the gap? And so from a planning perspective, what we did is we layered her income with the pension. That was her foundation. And then from 56 to 61, we created what we call a 72T distribution, which allowed her to pull some money out of her IRAs early, as long as she pulled out the same exact amount for that 5-year period. And it's all based on mathematics, so you got to really spend some time in figuring that out. And so we created her income there, and then once that distribution ended, we had 2 other sources of income kicking on at 62, which were Social Security, and then we actually used an annuity piece at this point. And from that point on, she's good. So she had all her strong sources of income, and then she had an additional $500,000 in the investment side that wasn't being used for income. It was there to help with some of the fun stuff down the road. So all it took was for her to just get some clarity and for her to spend some time with us. And we were able to map out a plan that allowed her from the day that she got laid off until she passes away to be very comfortable in retirement and have a clearly defined plan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say that's definitely a silver lining, so I think that's and again, she, having that conversation with you as her advisor certainly really opened the door to go through that. So, and that's what we're talking about here on this section of the show. We're talking about finding some silver linings in unfortunate situations. And I want to circle back around to the company pension here in just a second for part 2 of my question, Sean. But before we do, let me remind folks that if you do have some questions about a similar topic and, you want to try to see what you can do, maybe to find out if you are indeed ready to retire, or maybe you make some moves to get close, and in the event that you are kind of in one of these situations we're discussing, give them a call at 855-50-RETIRE for a no cost, no obligation consultation, complete financial review with Sean and the team at Elevated Retirement Group. 855-50-RETIRE. So you mentioned the pension, Sean, and a lot of companies are doing away with pensions, and maybe they're moving and they're just saying, okay, here's the lump sum buyout instead, and you were kind of maybe hoping for that pension. Give us a couple silver linings there.
And this is another common scenario. And usually what we see is that when people retire, at least out here in Utah, they're given a multitude of options with their pension. It's either, hey, you can get the monthly, or you can take a spousal benefit, or you can take the lump sum. And the silver linings in getting the lump sum really are all about control, right? It's if I took the monthly pension, and I passed away tomorrow, and my wife passed away, there's nothing that goes to my beneficiaries. Nothing goes to my kids if I'm taking the monthly. But if I took the lump sum and I pass away and my wife passes away, then there's a value there that goes to the beneficiaries. So when we look at silver linings and how it all fits into the plan, we look at a couple of things. One, can we create the same or more income than you'd get with your pension in a way that's comfortable to you? Because your risk tolerance and your ability to take on the fluctuations in the accounts, Mark, are different than mine, or
right,
different than the next person. So can we create a level of income that's the same or better based on what your comfort level with fluctuation is? And two, if you've got more liquid assets, you might have more flexibility. So when you start to look at all those unknowns, I don't know in 15 years from now if I'm going to get cancer or diabetes or have health issues. But by having a control of a lump sum of money, I may have more flexibility inside of my plan. If I get sick or whatever it may be, to either pay for health care or to just do some of those bucket list type trips, making it, just having the flexibility to make choices around my life as my life adjusts.
No, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, because again, that's the whole point of saying, let's make sure that we are having a plan in place that addresses, the things that can happen or come up. And of course, this is, some, like I said, these are kind of quote unquote unfortunate situations that may arise. And if so, there is a few things for you to think about for a silver lining aspect. And of course, all of it hinges on, all these pieces that you have. Most of us have a collection of things that we have gathered through our lifetime, and that's what we think is a financial plan. And for some of us listening to the show, you may have a plan, but for a lot of us, we just have a collection of things, and we think, yeah, I'm covered because I got a 401k, or I've got this, or I got that, or maybe the pension, or maybe a lump sum, or whatever. And so you don't really have a plan. You have a collection of things. So pull it all together, get with somebody who can talk you through how to build a plan that's right for you, like Sean and the team at Elevated Retirement Group. Reach out to them at 855-50-RETIRE for that no cost, no obligation consultation of your own situation, 855-50-RETIRE. And of course, you can call. It's complimentary. Let them know you want to come in, stop in and see them. They are in Sandy as well as St. George, but serving the Salt Lake City area. And, of course, you can always check them out online at elevatemyretirement.com. That's elevatemyretirement.com. You can check out the radio show here. You can also check out the podcast, different ways that Sean and I hopefully share some useful information with you. And if you found it useful, give them a call, 855-50-RETIRE. All right, Sean. Well, I think with that, my friend, I think we're going to wrap it up this week, and I hope you have yourself a fantastic week, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Sounds good. We'll talk to you soon.
We'll talk to you next time right here on Retirement Elevated with Sean Lee.
Investment advisory services offered through Elevated Capital Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered